YouTube, what is going on? It's your boy Clay with a deck fall on Blackwings for this current format. This is a deck that means a lot to me, being because it's the first ever synchro deck I ever picked up. And right before we get to the deck file, I just wanted to give a shout out to Team Sue for helping me with a lot of these tech choices. I also left a link in the description below to his deck profile. It was a really solid deck profile, and he helped me with a lot of these tech choices. So getting onto the deck profile, I'll tell you why I run cards at a certain ratio. And then starting off the deck, of course, you got to run the 3 copies of Chris the Crackodon. Chris essentially searches out anything whenever you have Black Whirlwind on the field. But not just that, you can spam him out there, as well as the fact that he cannot be destroyed by spells and traps, making him a really solid normal summon. So you really never have to worry about getting bottomless or any problematic back row when you just normal summon him out. And then other cards I run are the 2 Shuros and the 2 Boros. Put Bar down to 2, as well as I put Shuro back to 2. The reason I run this certain ratio is you miss out a lot when you run Shuro at 1. Even though pendulums are a thing is pendulums aren't as big as they first were, so you can put Shuro right back at 2. The fact that he's a free special summon whenever he destroys a monster, the battle is really huge, especially when you play a deck that relies a lot on battling. So that's the reason I push her back at 2. And the worst case scenario is basically you normal summon him out there while you have Whirlwind on the field, and he essentially searches out everything other than himself essentially. So he's really good at 2. 2 Burrows mainly because he is a spammer, but a lot of times you end up going super minus with Blackwings, and that's not what you're supposed to do. I feel like Blackwings are better when they can play a control aggressive playstyle. So that's the reason I run 2 copies of Bora. I just don't feel like spamming him out there is a really good strategy in today's format. And basically, the other big Blackwing I run is Zephyros the Elite. Zephyros is a really strong Blackwing monster. His effect is once per duel for a reason. The fact that you can bounce back any card on the field to your hand, especially from grave, is really strong. He has a lot of use in this deck, especially just because of the engine I run in here. Then I do run 2 copies of Kalut. Kalut is really strong. 3, he clogs way too much. I run him at 2 in this specific build just because he's there as mainly just to serve as a hand trap purpose, so you don't really want to clog him. A 1400 boost is really strong, but like I said, you just don't really want to clog him essentially. He is and his effect isn't as good as it is this format, just because there's a lot of decks running the hero engine with Dark Law. So if Dark Law is on the field, you can't really use his effect essentially, because his effect has to be sent from hand to graveyard, which you can't do while Dark Law is up. Starting off my tuners, I run 2 copies of Gale. 2 copies of Gale and 2 copies of Blizzard. Gale is really good at 2, and then Blizzard I do run at 2, mainly because I do main deck 2 Twin Twisters, so I need a way to recur the level 4 monsters whenever I pitch them off a Twin Twister. Gale is there though, just because he's a really good spammer essentially. Only 2 just because you don't want to spam him out. Same reason I run Bora at 2. And then the fact that Gale effect essentially halves any monsters on the field, is really good. So that's the reason I run 2 copies of Gale. Other tuners I run is the Pinocchi and what's his name, the Steam. Pinocchi is really good at 1. I mainly want to get him off of Shuro essentially, and he would be a 2 of if it was for the fact that I can only use him for Blackwing synchros, which is kind of a downside. And then Blizzard is good there just because it makes my field. He can just come right back essentially. Bringing a tuner right back on the field is really good, and his ability to spam out tokens is really good as well. Other Blackwing monsters I run is the one Gladius. It comes up a lot. You can spam them essentially, and the one Orochi. Orochi is there. Orochi is there just to get other combo plays going. There's a lot of plays with Orochi. You can go into Crystal Wing, or you can go into you can use him with a Nothong, bring out a Tamer and get your Nothong right back. So there's just a lot of combo plays with Orochi. So that's the reason I run Orochi at 1. So this is all the Blackwing monsters I run. I run 18, which is kind of big. So like I might make room for Valor by cutting out some more Blackwing stuff. The non-Blackwing monsters I run are 2 Maxis and 2 Armageddon Knights. Maxi is just probably the best hand trap this format, and then Armageddon Knight is basically a engine. This fixes your hand essentially. Sometimes you open up hands full of tuners, and sometimes you open up a handful of non-tuners. So Armageddon Knight becomes whatever you need in that situation. So that's basically all the monsters I run in the main deck. Getting on to spells, I'm running 3 copies of Black Whirlwind. Black Whirlwind is a really strong card, essentially, allowing me to just search out all my monsters that has whenever I normal summon a Blackwing, I can search out all the monsters with less attack than it, so it's pretty good in certain situations. The 1 Rhoda, because it's reinforcement with army, it searches out your Armageddon Knights. 2 copies of Allure Darkness. Allure is just there for consistency, essentially. 2 copies of Twin Twister just for spot removal. I don't run it at 3 just because I don't really have too many cards to discard. I can always discard a Blackwing monster, but a lot of times I just can't afford to discard, so main reason I run 2 Twin Twisters. Then I run 2 copies of Instant Fusion. Noda is a really strong play. There is a chance of my second Instant Fusion being dead, but I can always pitch it off a Twin Twister if I really have to. 1 Raigeki. Raigeki is just a solid card, a solid staple, as well as the 1 Soul Charge. Soul Charge can be a really amazing top deck, so that's the reason I run Soul Charge. And then only traps I run essentially are 2 Chaos Trap Holes and Solemn. Chaos Trap Hole fills in for Solemn Strike. It's a card as good as Solemn Strike in my opinion, just because the entire meta is dark and light. And at my locals, there's a ruling where if you hit 1 dark or light monster while your opponent pillar summoning, you basically get to banish them all. So that's the reason I do run 2 Chaos Trap Hole. Vanities is a really strong blowout card if you get in the right situation. Time Space because it's time space, and 1 Boundless. These are cards I send off for Rafflesia, or Rafflesia targets essentially. So that is my trap lineup. I'll do side deck real quick. Side deck is pretty generic. It's just there to hurt the meta decks essentially. You got 3 Flying Seas and a 3rd Maxi just for problematic decks that spam or go into XZs, mainly BA and PK. This is good against what is called Cosmos as well. 2 Lancias to screw over Cosmos and Monarchs. 2 Mass Change 2, which is good against almost every deck in this format. 2 Chalice, because I had no type of effect negation. So like if I ever have to get over a Floodgate monster, Chalice is really good. Like if I'm playing a deck that goes into Floodgate monsters heavily, I put in the Forbidden Chalice to get over it. 2 Iron Walls to screw Monarchs and Cosmos. 2 Decrees for decks like Demise, any deck that run a lot of traps, I run 2 Decrees, and the 3rd Chaos Trap Hole. This card I always take out a lot of the times for the 3rd Chaos Trap Hole, and the 3rd Chaos Trap Hole is usually MVP. So that is my side deck. And then my extra deck consists of 4 Strix, Rafflesia, Direwolf, and Castell. These are the XZs I run. 4 Strix is really good in this deck. I used to not like it, but the fact that I can use it with my Armageddon Knight is really strong. What's the name is there? Rafflesia is there for a defensive play. Direwolf is really good spot removal. Castell is spot removal. Castell is there for spot removal, of course. Direwolf as well, and that is my XE lineup. Then for synchros, I have Armades, Nothong, Shidori, Tamer, Raikiri. These are my Blackwings, of course. My Blackwing synchros, I run them at 1. Cut out Armor Master just because he's not necessary, essentially. Meteor Burst is a really good tech to get over any deck that floats. I run Scarlight and Beezle for my level 8s. Whenever I get my Crystal Wing in, I have to decide whether I cut one or the other. Leo is in there for the Trish I don't have currently. I'm ordering a Japanese one whenever I get it, but like I'm running Leo for right now. And then the only fusions I run is the 1 Nodin and Dark Law essentially. And then Beezle, I forgot to explain Beezle and Scarlight. Scarlight can burn my opponent for game. Beezle is essentially a monster really good against the Cosmo matchup, essentially. Nodin and, yeah, Darklaw are really good cards, essentially. So that's it for the deck profile, guys. Hope you guys enjoy. Go ahead and check their deck profile. Check Team Sue's deck profile in the description below. And I'll see you guys next time. Clay is signing out.